Look, I don't know why you've got me on this video, if I'm perfectly honest. When have I ever got a prediction wrong? And
oh boy.
I was, Michael Sidgwick, I was the only pro wrestling journalist to put my reputation on the line and say that this guy, CM Punk, was going to return at Survivor Series. And look what happened. Look who's laughing now.
Predictions at the start of the year, as I did with 2023. I'm 99% sure there are videos out there where I say that Cody Rhodes will definitely get to the end of the year and he will be the WWE champion or a world heavyweight champion or whatever it may be. I'm also pretty sure I said that he would defeat Roman Reigns. And here we are, and he hasn't done it. Now look, I think I'm only a few months off. I totally believe when we get to April 2024, Cody is going to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns, and he should be that guy. Look at the metrics, look at the reactions, look at the numbers. But I screwed that one up, and it's really difficult to... I don't know whether WWE was right or wrong at WrestleMania 39. Now, given that a large portion of the audience, the live audience, didn't like it, you know, you have to throw that in there. But here's the two ways I look at it. Roman Reigns has had an absolutely incredible 12 months. Everyone goes, oh, he's barely wrestled that much. Yeah, but he's made an impact and he sells tickets. He is the superstar WWE always wanted him to be. But on the flip side of that, you could have told the exact same story that he has done, potentially without the championship. And maybe if he didn't have the title, we could have made more people within this run. For example, LA Knight could have won in Saudi Arabia. Jey Uso probably could have got a singles victory over Roman Reigns. But then, once again, somebody can come back. This is why it's so damn hard, right? Someone can come back and say, well, LA Knight has been a massive success this year. My word, he's absolutely killed it. And Jey Uso, I never thought this would happen. I'm so pleased that it has. Is now an established singles star. And you can put him in a main event and no one's going to blink. They go, yeah, I love Jey Uso. So keeping the toe on Roman wasn't actually that bad idea either, because you still have all these success stories. It didn't take away from it whatsoever. And I also kind of think that when we do get to WrestleMania 40, given that it is the big 4-0, and given that you're going to have this extra 12 months worth of build, which we have now started to tease when Roman and Cody had that stare down on SmackDown, maybe it helped Cody even more than it would have done. But I don't even know why. I can't explain it. It's just something in the air. It's like the snowman. There's something in the air. Is that the song? Don't know why I did that. Regret it. But that's just my gut feeling. To the point, my prediction will be that Cody Rhodes will win at WrestleMania 40. If he doesn't, again, I'm a positive Pete when it comes to wrestling, my concern would be I then do think the Roman Reigns things will start to turn. I'm not saying we've missed the peak just yet. We're probably coming up to the precipice. But you don't want to miss that peak after building something for so long. You want to make sure you pull the trigger. And I think that should be at WrestleMania 40. You know, let's make Cody Rhodes he already is, but let's just make him our super duper mega top star. And then probably turn Roman Reigns face so he can start, you know, feuding with people that he hasn't wrestled for in a while. But yeah, I mean, what do you do? I said Cody Rhodes would be champion. But I say a lot of things. I once said that CM Punk will never come back to wrestling. So I'm never going to say that again. People are like, oh, he's going to come back to WWE. He probably will. And do you want to know what the answer is? Wrestling. It's always wrestling. These things always happen.
I was convinced that this would be the year that our very own Simon Miller wrestles for either AEW or WWE. Now, I wasn't thinking he was going to get signed and pushed onto main roster WWE or anything, but I thought maybe a dark match here or there, or a little thing on a WWE UK house show, or an episode of AEW Dark or something like that. Some kind of wrestling on one of them, and it wasn't. He came very, very close, don't get me wrong. He was backstage at All In. He was in the, being a security guard at All In. He was in the ring at Wembley Stadium, which is impressive on its own. But he didn't actually quite get to wrestle. Now, he wrestled for Impact, so he's getting there. He's goddamn getting there. So next year's going to be the one, I think. But yeah, this year, I thought it was going to be his year. Really, really did. Sorry, Simon.
It's literally identical to the one I said in the 2022 version of this video, and it's probably going to be the one that I get wrong in the 2024 version of this. Just repeat forever and ever, because I'm going to make this prediction until one day it actually comes true. You'll probably be about 80-year-old by that point. But it was, of course, Eddie Kingston winning the AEW World Championship at Grand Slam. It's just the most perfect romantic piece of pro wrestling booking, isn't it? The guy winning it in his home city. the guy who has never truly hit the top in terms of world title wins and everything else in pro wrestling, finally pulling it off in his hometown. Of course, this year we got him beating Claudio for the Ring of Honor world title, which in itself is a big deal to Eddie in particular, their career-long rivalry, the aspect of Eddie never being a world champion into it as well. But the big marble, of course, as they all call it, the big marble, is the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, currently held by MJF at the time of recording. Might be different by the time this goes out. And MJF would have been just the perfect guy for him to dethrone as well, because you can just do the cruel booking of Eddie winning the belt, having the most emotional babyface moment of all time, and then getting screwed out of it a week later. It'd be perfect. I would cry on both occasions in completely different ways. I'm going to keep repeating it on videos until it finally happens, but that's what I got horribly wrong. I got many things wrong in 2023. This was the big one.
I'm not one for like crazy big predictions. Mine's really boring and obvious, but I think it's something that we all kind of predicted, and that's Bron Breakker making it to the main roster sometime in 2023. In fact, when he came to NXT originally back in the 2.0 days, everyone was kind of like, this is going to be one of those fast-track guys, right? Like, he's going to be in and out of NXT pretty quickly. They put the belt on him quite quickly. Okay, so he's going to be around a little bit further, but he'll drop it, and then he'll move on quickly, but he's still there. And yeah, going into 2023, it was kind of like, well, he'll probably be in the Rumble, or maybe he'll come up after WrestleMania. And clearly WWE still have a good amount of stock in him. I don't watch NXT, so I can't say for sure, but he was in a segment with The Undertaker, so they still care about him in some regard. So I do think this is probably coming. It's just taken a whole year longer than I was really expecting it to do. I think he's going to be a big success on main roster, but I'm really surprised that it's taken this long, plus however much longer it takes for Bron to finally get to Raw, SmackDown, whichever.
I thought in 2023 AEW would reverse a creative decline that I believe started sometime in late 2022. There was all the discussion post Brawl Out that CM Punk had damaged the very fabric of AEW, torn away at the heart and the soul and indeed the elite of AEW, and it's only gotten worse, and it turned out to be nothing to do with the Punk, because the only time it was really good in 2023 was there for about 10 weeks. It was 12 months ago, as we record this, that the elite ripped the piss out of CM Punk in Chicago, and they definitely didn't kill the town 12 months later. There have been flashes of brilliance in AEW in 2023. We are recording this in the shadow of the fantastic Hangman Page vs Strickland match, at another uneven but at times excellent pay-per-view, of which there have been several in 2023. Tony Khan, that one right there, has hung his hat on his pay-per-view business being, as he believes, to be the best in wrestling, the best of all time. He, of course, Wembley Stadium set records. There have been all these weird high points amidst a year that has undulated too aggressively for an organisation that calls itself elite. I don't just want to enjoy big matches on big nights featuring the biggest rosters full of the biggest and best talents ever. I want to anticipate, I want to speculate, I want to spot details and the things that once made All Elite Wrestling everything it purported to be. I, of course, love the game Triple H's efforts with WWE this year. But what I want more than anything out of pro wrestling is for there to be a market leader and a challenger brand. The very phrasing that this man likes, it isn't that. It simply is not challenging WWE for me in 2023. It's not challenging me as a viewer, and I don't think it's challenging its talent either. I feel like the dark cloud that everybody assumed was related to CM Punk is in fact over the organisation itself, with or without Dat Punker. And I certainly won't predict the same again in 2024, because I think we're a long way away from seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
So the wrestling prediction that I got horribly wrong in 2023 went down inside of the O2 Arena over here in the UK. Yes, I am talking about Money in the Bank 2023. And I and everybody was obviously thinking, coming into this event, that everybody was going to be saying LA Knight coming out of the Money in the Bank ladder contract, briefcase match thing. Yes, of course. Because why wouldn't you give the most popular person in the entire building the big win and blow the roof off of the top of the O2? Why would you not do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Triple H wanted to give it to Damian Priest instead. And you know what? I'm not slamming Damian Priest. I think he's been fantastic with that briefcase. I think it's added something new to his character. It's going to help push him into that nice main event just section of the card, obviously. And then it's added some all-important tension to the Judgment Day, because we just need tension in all all factions nowadays, but this is, I'm going away from the point. What I think should have happened, obviously, is LA Knight should have been given that briefcase, and it would have made his summer just so much more, I don't know, exciting than what it was. He was just kind of there, really, for a lot of this summer. Yeah, he had his Slim Jim win. That was fine. Yeah, cool. But outside of that, what was he doing, really? There was nothing really of note at Payback. He had that weird Miz feud. There was nothing. It was just nothingness. And it would have been so much more entertaining if he had that briefcase and he was just strutting around SmackDown and Raw, just threatening to cash in at any moment. It would have been great, but we didn't get that. Instead, I got egg on my face. I was embarrassed because I got this prediction so horribly wrong. But who knows? It could happen next year. It should.
This is embarrassing. Incredibly embarrassing. I predicted in a WhatCulture article, in fact, says written evidence of it, that the people would turn on Triple H's WWE in 2023, and that this sort of like minor resurgence, very tentative, but really, really strong, would all sort of falter. Now, it seems ridiculous now. I'm literally recording this on the eve of Survivor Series, where they gave up the idea of having a beautiful stage just to accommodate more punters. So it is ridiculous, but cast your mind back to 2022, late 2022. There was no Cody Rhodes. Those crowds were still pretty quiet. They hadn't been conditioned to start making like loads of noise yet. And more to the point, if you look at what Triple H was actively doing, other than tightening things up, like doing more video packages, like really sort of slowly restoring the prestige of like the Intercontinental title, it was all very slow, pretty dry. I don't think it was that captivating. But if you look at what Triple H did, there was no Cody. Paul Heyman drove and continues to drive the Bloodline storyline. Triple H brought back a whole host of talent that, with very few exceptions, didn't get any pops, didn't sort of drive any interest, and it just felt like he was playing from a playbook, the NXT Black and Gold, that was never really popular, and that he was just regurgitating the same ideas unsuccessfully. So I just thought, right, well, there's a sign timer on this. Like, his ideas aren't really clicking. It's better than Vince, obviously, but what a low bar. The bar's in freaking hell. And I know, didn't happen. He did a masterful job with Jey Uso in particular, Cody Rhodes, Gunther. It was never the most like excessively entertaining must-see television, but this man kept doing the basics quite brilliantly. Like, I was never personally that jazzed about it, but god damn it, a lot of fans were. They started to come to these shows in droves. The ratings just completely dispelled wider booking patterns, okay? Gunther, massive champion. Cody Rhodes, like the next John Cena of a babyface. And I came to the realization, and it's a bit of a bleak one, that a lot of people, and I'm looking at you, and I blame you, Adam Wilborn, and prick Michael Hamflett over there. It seems to me, when you look at the contrasting fortunes of AEW, that all along, when Vince McMahon was just creating the worst product I think I might have ever seen, like between 2018 and 2019. Maybe they didn't want an alternative. If you look at the objective data, the houses, the ratings, all the rest of it, maybe all along, people just wanted a really coherent, big-time version of WWE. Wrestling's dead. Thanks, Papa H!
Anybody else here thought that, Wardlow would become the AEW World Champion in 2023? Yeah, that's me. And that he would defeat MJF to become the AEW World Champion? Yeah, that's me. That was totally my prediction for 2023 that completely went out the window. It's a story that's right there, and just this is another example of the bizarre use of Wardlow over the last probably 18 months or so. This is a story that writes itself. This is a story that you've done so well to get to a certain point, and then just it's like Tony Khan's just gone, whatever. Yeah, you go back to Full Gear 2022, MJF won the AEW World Championship, and that was the same pay-per-view where Wardlow dropped the TNT title to Samoa Joe, and so you're thinking, okay, there we go, that TNT title's off his back, so he could build him up as a main event contender over the next couple of months, next 6 months, whatever, while MJF fends off other world title challenges. But then Wardlow would win that belt back at Revolution in March from Samoa Joe. Okay, cool. We're okay with that. That's fine. You can have one last solid run with the TNT title while MJF again goes through those main event challenges, blah, 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 blah. And then you can look towards maybe Full Gear 2023 for MJF versus Wardlow, where the War Dog would go over. Nope. Absolutely not. Instead, Wardlow dropped the TNT title to Hobbs 3 days after he won it. But then that wasn't the end. That wasn't the end of the world, really, because again, that could be a good thing. But no, Wardlow will get one more as well. On top of that, extremely forgettable TNT title reign. Then a 4-month spell of not being used throughout the rest of 2023. He returned in October. There'd be squash wins over Griff Garrison, Ryan Nemeth. Hardly World Championship form. But such is sadly the story of Wardlow in AEW. It's his run so far. It's been such a confusing one. There's so much potential there, and there's so much that have been done right. Especially the stories with MJF. It is right there. It's an open goal. But for whatever reason, just so many times Wardlow's been wasted by bizarre, questionable booking. I don't know what the problem is there. I mean, at this point in time now, I'm looking at Wardlow and I'm thinking, this guy, truthfully, I think would be better served in WWE by this point in his career. Even if he's now back on TV, he's all pissed off about MJF and he's going to take everything from MJF. He keeps promising that for the last little while. Yeah, great, but this is something that should have happened a year ago. Why is this only happening towards the end of 2023? Yeah, just... So yeah, that was a prediction I got wrong, but God, man, how? Why are we in this situation, Tony? Yeah.